Hey, 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 welcome back if you're back, and welcome to, if you're new here, the Creatives Conversation. My name is Gabriella Marte, and this is...
Kendra.
Can I say your nickname?
Oh, sure.
This is Kendra K. Baby Reed, y'all. Give it
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
So I don't know where that nickname came from, but it's beautiful. And today, we're talking about what to do when you feel like giving up.
Yep.
And this is good because, let's be honest, I had a week.
Did you?
Let me testify real quick.
Yeah, give us a...
Yeah. You know, it's been such a blur. I don't know if it was this week or last week. It was this week. I just really was like, it's too much, everything I'm doing, which is kind of a lot. We were just talking about it. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm doing marketing and music because I'm trying to get my music to a place to where it can fund itself and me if it wants to. You know what I mean? Like pay for my bills. You know what I mean? And so I'm doing both, and it is a little overwhelming sometimes. Yeah. Lots of plates spinning in the air. And I think I just had this moment this week where I was just really discouraged. Even though I come on here week after week and I'm like really encouraging to others, I think it hit me like, well, I'm doing a lot, and what if this a lotness never ends? You know what I mean?
That's the thought you had?
Yeah, like what if this cycle or season that I'm in of it just being too much never ends?
Why do you think you had that thought?
I don't know. I think it just came to me. I don't know why I had that thought. And so I literally was like really sad before I went to bed. And my husband was trying to like, you know, give me inspiration. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. I was in a mood. And I knew I wouldn't give up per se in that moment, but I felt like I wanted to. Like,
wow.
I knew I'm too deep in it to like give up now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm just curious, like, why that thought, I guess, came to you, I guess, like that. Like, you know what I mean?
I think
like,
your emotions, like, I'll be honest. So this week, I usually get up 5 a.m., like I was just telling you off the, you know, the video, off the podcast. But I usually get up like 5 a.m. and the first thing I do is I exercise 20 minutes. I pray for 20 minutes and meditate. And then I read the Bible for 20 minutes. So that victory hour, which is what I'm calling it, and 5 a.m. club readers, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's really important to my mental health, like super, super important. And so I didn't do it maybe like 2 days in a row, and life was really overwhelming. And then I found myself in a really dark place.
Gotcha. So that,
you know what I mean?
Thought came after you like didn't do those things. Like,
didn't really take care of my mind for like maybe 2-3 max days.
Okay.
And the spiral started to happen. Like,
interesting.
What if I never break out of this and I don't achieve the goals that I'm after? What if like, and so I was kind of in that zone.
Doubting a little bit. Just kind of like from
doubt from not renewing my mind, honestly. And I knew the source of that. I knew because I've been there before. And what's funny is like a lot of people make fun of me. Oh, Gabby, it's really funny that you wake up 5 a.m. Right? And you go and you exercise. Like that's really like not cute, but people are like, oh, that's really awesome. Like, but if I don't exercise on the regular, I deal with depression and those like overwhelming thoughts of like, I'm stuck. Life is not going to move forward for me. And there's something about getting on a treadmill or like boxing or like, which I started boxing. Yeah. You're my boxing friend. It's been transformative always in my mind. There's something about like when I am stagnant physically, I feel stagnant quite honestly, mentally and spiritually as well. So yeah.
Interesting. I'm definitely going to be
therapy session.
After
we
that.
just dove into, dove in deep. So my question to you, Kendra, and I have it right here in my notes. Do you ever feel like giving up? Just for people who are listening that might feel that way.
I mean, yes, I would say that has definitely been something that has plagued me. And I wouldn't even say like
really plagued
me. Yeah, that was a little intense word.
Yeah.
But I would just say not necessarily so much now, really, but I think like I've definitely had seasons where it's been pretty intense. I would say where I feel like giving up. But I mean, honestly, that kind of goes into, I think like a lot of it goes into like what we're going to talk about today. Like when you feel like giving up, of just like different things that I think are helpful
Yeah.
for that. I would say,
Which is, I really like authentically want to hear like what you think is helpful. Because as your friend, and I told my therapist this, I'm like, should I be able to look up to my friends? Because Kendra's not just a co-host to me. Like, we started off as friends. And then like I found out she's like a creative genius of sorts. Like, I know you don't think so, but like there's things she can do that I will probably never be gifted or really ever get to that level of genius that you're on. Dancing being one of them. Like, God bless you and your ministry. But that's just not me. Hello. I do dance, but it's sparingly. So yeah, I really have grown to enjoy you and look up to you. You're strong. Like, and I know you're not super, no one's a superhero.
Right.
Like, but like you're strong. And I don't feel like everybody I know is strong. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would say the same for you. I feel like you're strong too.
Thank you.
That's why I was like, wow, that thought like it came to you. And not that you like can't have that thought that you did have or like those feelings. I think that actually makes you even more like someone that I want to look up to, but like it also makes you even more human. But it was just like, oh, like it made me sad, I guess, that you like had that thought. I was just like, oh,
that's our sisterhood.
Like, right. I was like, oh, which is why I was like, we'll have to talk more about that off camera for now.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Got some questions.
I think it is too. Another thing, just going back to that, I really feel like we're in a microwave culture. And if I'm being honest, it's like, what is it right now when we're recording this? It's March 16th. I'm looking at my computer. And I really started going hard in the paint on like, we started up the podcast again.
Yep.
Musically, I signed with a PR agency in the UK and we're like revving it up. I just started all that like this year. And so I'm like, there's a lot. It's a lot.
There is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's good things. Like you said earlier, we're talking through it, and Kendra was like, those are good things. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. They are good things, but they're stretching me in a way. Like as if, if I were like a sprinter and they asked me to run same pace, but double the distance all of a sudden, or like start running faster. I'm like, yeah, in theory, I want to do that. I see the goal up ahead. I want the goal. But like while I'm practicing to run that race and get to that goal, I'm exhausted. Like, yeah. And there's not a lot of people that I'm like running next to. That's like one thing people don't talk about. When you start running races and doing things that are like kind of out of the box, especially creatively.
Yeah.
And as a creative, you're going to be alone sometimes. Yeah. And so, I'm looking to my left like, where
you at?
Anybody else? Okay, no one's tired. All right, cool. Like, and that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I got more to ask you.
I'm nervous
because I was like, I don't want to put you out there right now, but
I mean, if it's not too personal, you could put me out there if you want to.
No, it's fine. I'll wait.
No, okay.
we can definitely talk about it, like
she's awesome
on the podcast much later. But I want it. Yeah, it might be a little personal, so that's what I was like.
I can always say no if you want to.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay,
it's fine.
She's so sweet. I'll be asking everybody's personal questions.
No, it's fine because it's not too much relevant to what we're
talking about.
Yeah, talking about now. So I was like,
you're funny because I believe if she asked it, it'd be totally relevant, but it's fine.
We'll wait. But anyway,
now I'm curious. And I'm sure all of you are too. Leave a comment if you're on YouTube or on a podcast app that takes comments as to what you think Kendra is thinking right now.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. So many things.
So okay, when was the last time you felt like giving up? Mine was like 2 days ago.
Trying to think.
This is for all of you out there who feel the same way. We want you to know you're not alone.
I don't know if I can answer this question honestly because I don't know if I've taken enough time to really like
think about it.
Yeah. Because I think like where I'm at, the reason being, I think like where I'm at now is I feel like I'm starting to get my motivation back, if that so to speak. So I'm like, I'm not even sure that like, you know what I mean? Like that could remember the last time I really felt like that.
Wait, speak to that. Like your motivation back, like your creative motivation or like motivation for life, like bigger motivation.
All the above.
I feel like they're all tied together, low key.
Yeah. I feel like for me, just like where I'm trying to get to, I definitely, for me, I guess like my struggle is like having enough energy. Like, and when I say like energy, like mental energy a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And sometimes physical energy, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with like where I've gotten to with my physical energy.
Yeah.
And that's just like getting back into like moving my body and like exercising and stuff like that. So that has been very helpful. And for me, that does influence my mental energy, so to speak. But also, I would say just having like, I don't know, I guess the way that so I guess I would describe it, because I'm normally the type of person that is kind of like, I want to do all these things. And I want to do them all right now.
Ooh, we're going to have a podcast on that.
You know what I'm saying?
How to choose. You know what I mean?
But
that's
like,
hard for us.
Yes, but it's like, whether that be like, it's like I'm trying to get somewhere, but it's like I need to do all of these things first to get there, or all of these things in relation to that thing.
That's hard.
Right.
Because that'll paralyze you sometimes.
Exactly. And so it's like, when you look at finally all of those things and you're like, okay, now let's actually get started, it can be exhausting. Like just, you're not even started yet. You're just trying
mentally.
to get, you're just trying to get organized in order to like get there. And so a lot of times it's like, that's kind of like stopped me. But I'm working on something that I think I've implemented in the past to get me to where I'm at now, is changing one thing or a couple things at a time instead of changing everything all at once.
Ooh, girl,
which has helped me so much, because it's like, okay, so for instance, last year, well, actually, like over a year and a half ago, I made the decision, I was like, to leave my previous job.
Yeah. Literally me all the time. I hit the microphone.
So I like, because I was just not happy anymore. And I was like, I think it's time for me to move on, do something different in order to get where I want to get, which is ultimately have my own business or whatever that may entail. And so I was like, okay, I was feeling quite discouraged, quite like, I would say doubting, all those things. But then I like had to finally like make a decision to like do it and to step out and to try. And to move past those feelings of like doubt or not being good enough or whatever that may be. So when I finally made the decision to start looking for jobs, I was getting energized in order to, you know what I mean? Like as you're, revamping your resume and like, looking over what you've accomplished to put on your resume, all of that. And you're just like, oh, okay, like, like I haven't done a ton, but I've done quite a bit of different things. But I'm seeing it and I'm like, okay, like I can do this. We're going to do this. Like, I'm capable of learning something new or learning a new skill, however long it takes me or whatever. I can do this. So as I'm doing that, finally made the decision, applied for some jobs, fell in love with one of the job descriptions, which is the job that I'm currently at now. And I was like, I want to work there. And so when I finally got the job, I was like super excited. I moved up rather quickly for like where I was. But from like, especially from like where I was thinking I was going to be. So it just kind of went rather quickly, but I was super excited about that. And so that kind of for me kicked it off to where I was like, all right, I'm changing my atmosphere. Boom. Step one,
I like
complete.
that. Change your atmosphere.
Yes. Next,
she started giving tips.
Next, I was like, all right, I want to start working out again. But for me, it was like, I had this craving that I want to start lifting weights again.
Ooh,
I
love
really
lifting
lifted weights since like college, like when I was like in sports. Like I hadn't really like lifted. I would do running. Like I was really into like running all the time. Like I used
what
to
you guys
run,
don't know is that Kendra is an athletic beast. Sorry to interrupt you, but
I love sports. But I used to run like 5 miles a day, and if I didn't run 5 miles a day, like I would punish myself because I like thought I had to.
That's wild.
It was crazy. So like, but I loved like that's the type of workout that I would do. And so now though I was like, I do want to start working out again, but I'm not really feeling like led to run. And I was like, and I tried to a couple times and I just couldn't stay consistent with it because I just wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah. There could be like low key trauma from that.
Yeah. Well, there was that. And I think like too, I don't even know. There's like some other things with that. But so then I was like, but I really wanted to start lifting weights. So I was like, and eventually like I wanted to do boxing too. It kind of sounded fun. I watched this movie on Netflix, y'all, with Halle Berry. I forgot what it was called.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can see the preview in my mind.
And I was like, ooh, like,
yes.
She makes me want to like try
I've been watching. Is it Creed?
No, with Halle Berry.
Girl, I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not a movie buff, but Creed, I did watch the first
Creed.
one. I haven't watched the second or the third one. I know it's with Michael B.
Yes,
Okay? Listen here.
No, Creed. That's something different. You're so funny.
But I do remember Hallie with the boxing
it's
movie.
on,
Sorry,
it's on Netflix, and I can't.
I thought she might have been in like Creed 2 or 3. You know what I mean? Well, 3 is not on Netflix, but yeah.
No, I don't.
But I'm wrong, and that's
so.
okay.
But hey, if she is, my bad. But I don't think so. But anyway, I watched this and I was just like, whoa. I mean, I don't actually want to get in the ring. I don't want to do that because I'm not trying to get
You know
hit.
what? I started boxing
But
and I'm like, kind of do.
know.
Put me in the ring.
No.
I would love to
you wanna get in
hit
the ring?
somebody with some gloves. Yeah. I got that kind of like, anyways, that's a whole nother story.
I'm not trying to get hit. I'm trying to run away.
You know what?
So I
realize I have so much pent up, I don't want to say aggression because it makes me sound like a horrible person.
No,
but like,
you can have that. It probably comes from somewhere.
I have a little bit of a temperament. I don't have an anger issue, but like growing up, I had a little bit of a hot head.
Okay.
And I still have that. It's not so much that I'm mad at people or angry. I just have like that, like when you are running, I have like that first jolt. I have like a jolt about me, like personality wise. And I'm just like, man, that's why I have to do exercise. It just gets it all out.
Yeah, it gets all that out. Yeah, I don't think that's bad. I think, and boxing is probably really good for that, honestly.
Oh, for sure. Just take it. I'm like, yeah.
I would say,
it's great.
Yeah. I think for me, it just the way, like, just the work that she put into it and just like
it's
the
so good
intensity, it was just kind of like, it was motivating. Just like, have you seen the movie Stick It?
No.
It's a gymnastics.
She's gonna keep
Are
quoting
you sure?
movies.
Oh
to
my
me.
gosh,
like,
Stick
nope,
It. It's
nope.
from like, when
I
that
might
came out?
have.
2010, 12,
Oh,
13.
man.
I don't know, maybe like earlier.
You
I don't
could
know, it
ask
was
me
like-
about any musician. I'd be like, yeah, I'm there.
mic.
I probably.
It was like, okay, so Stick It, it was about these gymnasts, and like I love
I think maybe I did.
yeah, like one of my favorite like sports to watch is gymnastics. I love
Oh goodness,
watching gymnastics.
what a sport!
Right. So like this movie was about like these 3 or 4 gymnasts, but anyways, they after like every like they were kind of like boycotting it a little bit, where like they would do a move because like gymnastics, like you get deducted for like the most craziest things. Like the slight.
Yeah.
And so like if like your bra strap is showing, you got a deduction. And so like on it, part of like the movie, they would like stick their move and then like pull out their bra strap and be like, stick it.
Oh my gosh, the things we used to watch back in the day.
On the show. But anyways, Stick It is one of the movies where like she's getting back into shape and like getting back, because she was like, the main character is like one of the best gymnasts or whatever. And just like the ice bath she had to get into, the running she had to do, it just like motivated me. I was like, oh, like I remember after watching that movie, like one summer I was like, I'm going to learn how to do a handstand, a perfect handstand, and like walk on my hands. I was
Didn't
not consistent. No. But I tried. I think I did it like ever so often. I think maybe for like the first 2 months I like was consistent, and I'd go outside and like lean against our garage to like practice, and then I fell off.
You were better than me. I'm just like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I don't have coordination like that.
I was like, this is a lot harder than it looks. I mean, I can balance on my head and do stuff, but I don't know if I still can. I haven't tried it. But
Sorry, I have totally derailed you.
It's okay. Anyways,
you were talking about boxing.
Oh yeah. So all of that to say, if like when I watch those kinds of movies, it motivates me to be like, like to do that. But now that I'm like, why were we talking about that?
No kidding. I asked you, when was the last time you felt like giving up? You said you don't know, and then like,
yeah,
and then we went down a journey.
Yeah. Oh, we went through because we went to like motivation.
Yeah.
Like gaining my motivation.
How did you gain your motivation back?
Yeah. And then we went to like, we were talking about exercise. Y'all, help us. But anyways, but yeah, so I started incorporating that too. So like I, got a membership at a gym and was trying to stay pretty consistent with it. And I did for the first part of the year. And then towards like, I want to say springtime, summertime a little bit, I fell off a little bit, but then I got back into it around July because I wanted to play powder puff football. And so started like getting back to it, but I was just like very proud of myself. So looking back at like, there were things that I wanted to change, and like from those were just 2 things of like this list that I had written for the beginning of the year.
Wow.
That I was like looking at of things that I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to actually write these things down and actually take intentional steps to like making it happen. 'Cause I can't keep saying I want to do this thing or reach this goal and not do anything.
Right.
Like be inactive.
Right.
And anymore. And I was just like, I'm to a place where I'm like, I'm tired of that. Like, I'm ready to step out.
Yeah.
And so doing that, I was able to change the exercise, started that, was able to get a new job. And then one other thing that I wanted to focus on too was dating. And so that all happened. So I was able to do at least 3 of the things that I wanted. And so it wasn't so overwhelming, if that makes sense, instead of doing all the things. So that's kind of how
you got motivated.
I think so. It's just like doing.
I think you got to do it. It like really does
moment.
unleash something. Like when I wanted to give up, I think the thing I got to do for me, when I know I want to give up, it all goes back to my mind. Like,
Yeah.
always. And I'm like, yo, what is it? So a pastor once said, this guy, he said, you desire what you pay attention to. And so that day that I wanted to give up this week, the next morning I realized like, I got to train my mind. Like I'm being too lax with like my mental development. And I went on Instagram and I left a little Marte Music live post saying that like, hey, you need to watch your mind, because if you do not intentionally train your mind on what to focus on, you will find yourself focusing on others, comparing yourself, doubting yourself, taking in. Your mind is alive and it longs to grab onto. Science doesn't say this, but this is, Gabby's perception of living for like the last 30 something years. It will grab onto whatever information you bring towards it, bring around it, present it. So like if all you do is watch Netflix, which I'm talking about myself, for like a week straight and, or a month straight, a couple years straight, and you're watching like not really good shows that are like motivational or like speaking to your motivational like desires, and you're listening to negativity like everywhere, it's gonna like affect you.
Oh, for sure.
100%. So I was like, yo, Gabby, you need to get your mind back in order. Like, absolutely. And that really just starts with, I think, honestly, declaring some faith declarations, I guess you could say. Like, it's possible for you, looking at people that have done it and saying, that can happen for me too, kind of thing. So, oh man, it's been a week. That's good to know how you get motivated. Okay. So what advice, Kendra,
Ooh, child.
would you,
Yeah.
I think that's where we should land this, like advice for someone who's watching, who wants to give up. I think creatively and like just in general, like it goes for both. Like what advice would you give them? Like I would say spiritual and practical, mental, like anything on the table, anything goes here.
So when we were talking about, what we were going to talk about, sorry, this sounded so funny.
When we were getting ready for,
I literally went through and I just kind of pondered that question, like what to do when you feel like giving up. And just some things, I feel like it's I feel like it's a little nuanced, or there's like a lot of things to that. So I went through and I just kind of wrote down some things, but like I would say this is what I find helpful in a lot of things that I like, or just how I go about like living. So if you get to this point, I think in life where you feel like you want to give up,
which is normal, by the way,
right? Very
You're
normal.
not alone. So.
No, I think it's good in general to just ask.
Not
the
that
question,
you said that, but
no, you're good. Is
just to reinforce,
to ask yourself why.
Ooh,
why? Like, why do you feel that way?
That's good.
And I feel like when you ask yourself why, identify the story you're telling yourself.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because like that's usually going to be like the root of it.
That's deep. You just moved past it so quick. I said, I'm stuck on the. Ask yourself the story you're telling yourself.
Yeah, because we're almost always telling ourselves something.
100%.
Along with the things that we're taking in, like you said, like social media or just whatever. Social media, the people we talk to, things we see as we're driving to and from work or wherever we go, we're taking in constant stimuli. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So we're telling ourselves some sort of story. Like, so if you're feeling like that, it's like stop. Give yourself a minute and stop. Why am I feeling like this? All right. And then that might take a long, who knows how long that's going to take you. It might be quicker. The more you practice it, might be a little quicker to just identify. But this is part of being just self-aware. Oof. So, which I think is very key, and a lot of people are not self-aware. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's not good to only be self-aware or to like really hound on it. Like there's definitely pros and cons to it. Yeah. But I definitely think it's something that's helpful. So anyways, ask yourself why, identify the story that you're telling yourself, then categorize it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wow,
So
this is deep, man. I wasn't. I came here to get therapy sessions today.
Listen, no, I'm just playing. But
Okay, you got to speak into categorizing now.
yes. So
what does that mean?
There's two categories that I thought of.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's more, but these are the two that I was like, let's just focus on these. So we have one category could be self-esteem, comparison, or results. So like you're feeling like, like results could be like something like you're feeling discouraged by the results you're seeing.
Oof.
Okay. So then the second category could be physical. So meaning like having to do with your health or like self-care, or feeling overwhelmed, or not enjoying yourself. Okay. So
Wow.
those are the two categories. So I'm going to break them down though real quick. So if you're falling in the first category, which had to do with self-esteem, comparison, all of that, specifically going to talk to the self-esteem and comparison, you might need to do a check-in. Like you just might need to do a check-in. And what that could look like is, again, we kind of talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago, is like reaching out to a friend. Like, do you have a trusted friend that you can just go and talk to, who you can basically say what the story, like
give
what
them
is
the
it that you're telling?
narrative.
Yeah, what is the narrative that you're following? And you're able to speak that to someone. They might be able to offer some healthy feedback, or they might be able to help you gain perspective, and maybe the right perspective.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
good.
I mean? Because you might be like, it's not that whatever the story you're telling you might be the truth, but there might be a little part of that truth that kind of goes over here and is not very helpful.
Yeah.
And so that friend could help you like, okay, yeah, we see this, but look, this is what you can do about it, and help you get back on the right path.
That's so good. Okay. And then on that, I want to say that therapy has been my greatest
That's
friend.
the next
Okay,
one.
cool. Because like somebody was like, I think it was like someone in my family. They're like, I don't need therapy. Like, I'm not broken. I hate when people say that, because I don't go to therapy because I'm
Right.
broken. I go to
No.
therapy to see if I'm perceiving the world in a healthy
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm ready to, fight people.
Right.
And, I'm like angry in different moments and then sad in different moments. So I bring them to her and I say, am I like okay?
Yeah.
Like, is this a good way to perceive a XYZ? And that is huge.
Yes.
And to be honest, I love going to my therapist because I think she's a little more objective than like, let's say my mom or
Yeah.
like my husband, or which my husband is very like objective actually. Like he's like, I
can
don't
see
think
that,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah. But I just want to say, like, therapy, if you don't have a friend that you feel like you can trust, or you're just like not comfortable with someone
Yep.
on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's so I would agree with that. So the reason I say like, because it depends, like, and like only you can really know like yourself enough and kind of what you need. So these aren't these aren't separate things. Like you can't just only go to your friend or only go to therapy
they
or
work
only
together.
do meditation and prayer. Like it's like, well, what's the issue? Is it something like that's quite, you deem small that might just need to go verbally process to someone? All right, cool. And you trust that person. That person has been consistent in giving good, healthy feedback. So a good objective friend is very key. Or if it's like something deeper, that it's more of a deeper, like whatever because remember I said, ask the question why. So whatever that why is, you might know, is it a deeper issue that you're like, all right, it's time for me to seek out counseling, or it's if you're already seeing a counselor, all right, I need to go schedule an appointment because I need to go talk to her,
Or
whatever it is.
go more frequently.
Yes.
Or if you can't find the why, going to a counselor, they can help you dig.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. There's also meditation or prayer. So like that's also good too to do. And like I said, you can do all of these together, or you can do one or the other, whatever it is. And then journal. Sometimes people just need to write it down to see it.
To release it.
Jumbled all in their head, or to release it. Like those things. So
that's good.
That's basically, a couple of things. Results. Now if it's results driven.
The first one was...
The first one was more self-esteem / comparison.
Okay.
So stuff that like you need to kind of get outside of yourself
yeah.
in order to kind of gain a better perspective or
Yeah.
a healthier perspective. So this one is more results driven. So maybe you're not like if it's a business or whatever creative venue you're doing, whatever, and you're not seeing the results that you're wanting to see. So like you were talking about at the beginning, where you're just kind of exhausted, or am I always going to be in this season? You know what I mean? Like this might be like how not to give up might fall into the results category.
Absolutely.
And so on this one, this is always a good time to go back and look at your why. And when I say your why, I mean your grander why. This is most closely related to your goal.
Guys, I'm at a Kendra sermon time.
Oh my gosh.
This is good stuff, man. I'm just
I don't know. I think I'm
this is good.
Very practical minded or whatever, how like it's always good to like be motivated, but I'm also like, but what can you actually take away?
I love
to
the practicality. And I think that's what like everybody needs who's listening or watching, because you're like, how do I like show me? I love that.
How do I do it? Because that's more of my thing. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm like, there's this thing over here and I can see how you get there, but actually how do I do
Give me a
this?
step. Give me, an action.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is always, if it is results, visit your why.
Go back to the
why. This
why.
will always help you too, to realize,
ooh, that's
you know what I mean? Because whatever the thing that it is you're pursuing, might be your dream. It might be, you know what I mean? Or just a goal to get to your dream. So it's like, instead of being so easy to just give up or, take a step, take a second and like, you know what I mean? And ask yourself why, and then revisit your why. And then why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah, that's good.
And then revisiting your goals. And then also take time to analyze the data.
Ooh, that's
the data
good.
that you're actually seeing. So more than likely, whatever you're trying to,
is that bad?
You're good. Whatever you're trying to, achieve, you've probably been able to measure in some way.
That's good. Also to add to this, I heard Alex Hormozy say, focus and like fall in love with the process of what you're doing versus, or what you're called to do versus the results of it.
Yeah.
Especially with social media. I feel like anything you have to do has anything to do with social media. Let me tell you now, brace yourself. If you're going to fall in love with results and like that's going to be your motivation why to see great results and numbers, you're going to be on the wildest roller coaster of your life.
For sure.
But if you can like truly have a why, like helps to exist to truly help creatives help others, like with your art, with your business, whatever, when we see that happen, and we know we're doing that, it doesn't matter how many people listen to the podcast. Of course, we'd love millions of people. I mean, come on now, we're not dead. Like the more people, the better, right? But like, if 3, where the why is still there, you know what I mean? Like
we exist more. I think where we're both like equally aligned is we exist more to help people. We like to help people.
Absolutely.
And so whether we reach 3 people or 3 million people, we're gonna be good because as long as we're sharing what's been given to us, we're gonna be fine.
100%.
I know there are people though that are results driven, and like, say for instance, people that I work with, there's a few people, they are numbers driven. They're just a numbers person. They're driven by numbers and results. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad. You know yourself, and that's what motivates you. So this is another thing. Look at that data. This is another thing to where you can identify. Where was I at? Sorry.
No, you're good.
This will give you perspective as well. So like, what are the results you're seeing? What does the data actually say? Like, how is it trending? You know what I mean? Is it trending up, but just slowly? Then, okay, you know, you're going to get there, but you just, again, like you said, enjoy the process in between.
Yeah.
Just know that
fall in love with the process.
Right. And just know that you're getting there. It's trending up. That's not a bad thing.
And then one day when it explodes, it's not going to rock your boat so much.
No.
Because you see a lot of people, to be honest, I've seen a lot of creatives, they are going, and then one day it explodes. They're like,
but they've been prepared for that moment.
Yeah, they're prepared. There's some that are prepared because they fall in love with the process. So when they explode, they keep doing what they've been doing. Yeah. And it just brings more growth in a longer term fashion. But there's some on the opposite though that are so in love with the results that once they go viral or like,
it's hard to see,
they don't keep with the process because they were never really, they didn't fall in love with it.
It's hard to stay consistent.
Yeah, they're not consistent. And then a year goes by and that, first initial wave of buzz or fame or whatever fizzles, which it always does, no matter how long it was for you. Like it always fizzles. And if you're not consistent and used to working that muscle in the process, it's going to just it's going to burn you up.
For sure.
And you're going to be like, wait, I got this. But then now like it's a roller coaster.
Yep.
But if you can keep building consistently, you'll be good.
So it's always good to take a look at the results, actually look at it, study it, look at it. That's always good to help gain perspective.
That's great. Yeah, I love that.
So really pay attention to that. And then also too, are your goals realistic?
Ooh.
Now, remember that dreams are great and it's always good to dream big, but it can take hard work.
Yeah.
So don't become disillusioned or get discouraged when it's taking longer than expected. And that's to your point.
That's great.
Where it's like you can have big dreams, but is it I guess, is your process, the data that you're analyzing, is it realistic? Like, you can have a big goal, but then there are most likely going to be smaller goals in between.
For sure.
So if your goal is to go from here automatically to there, that's a little unrealistic.
Yeah.
So set smaller goals to go from here. So say, for, an example, if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, like, how people do.
Please, just someone that's trying to grow their YouTube channel.
For like,
I feel that.
For something visible. Like, say you have 1 view right now, but you're trying to get to, or like 1 follower or whatever. Subscriber. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Subscriber. But you want to get to 10 million subscribers.
Ooh.
Well, to go from 1 to 10 million is going to be
It's a big leap.
A big leap. Now, that goal's not unrealistic.
It's not, because people have done it.
Your goal to go from this overnight to that is very unrealistic. And
yeah.
you will get
or even in the matter of, if you're being honest, like a couple years.
Yes.
And I think it's great to look at people who have done it, because it's possible. I think that's one thing we get wrong as creatives. When we see someone else doing it, the thing we want to do, a lot of us back off and say, well, they're already doing it. So why does there need to be another person doing it? Well, let's back up a little bit. The fact that someone's doing something you want to do means that the theory is proven. You can do it too. Yeah. We need as many voices who can sing well in a certain category as possible, or as many painters, because we need to see life the way God is giving you vision to see it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And your voice is different and all of that. That's a whole nother podcast. But I think being able to look at someone who's done it and say, well, when did they start?
Yeah.
How many years did it take them to get there? Yeah. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised if you do the research, which is not a ton of.
Right.
It took 5, 6, 7, a lot of YouTubers.
Yeah.
5+ years.
Yeah.
In the space. Some of them run ads. And so to think that you're going to make it organically, no ads, right? In 6 months. I mean, it could happen, but
so
unrealistic though.
So when you ask the question, is your goal realistic?
Yeah.
Not the big goal, because you can have big dreams.
It's possible.
So don't doubt those dreams, because it's dare to be great. Dare to dream those big things. That's how people change the world, is they dare to do something that seems impossible. Yeah. But it's those in-betweens. So like I said, too. So instead of shooting and thinking that in a couple of months you should have 10 million people.
Oh, Kendra, you're preaching to my soul.
Let's go for 10 people. You know what I mean? All right. And then as you're looking at analyzing that data, oh, okay, well, I'm not quite towards those 10 people, but look, I have 4 more people than I did before. Ooh, then you're seeing that trend
so good
is slowly, you know what I mean, is slowly going up. So that might help when you feel like giving up. It's like, oh, well, actually, I am making progress. So you might feel renewed. And then you're like, all right, well, we have 4 more people. So maybe let's see if we can get 2 more. And then you know what I mean? And go on from there. And then
that's good.
It's physical. So we're moving on. So
the first 2 we had.
The first category was self-esteem, comparison, and results.
And then the second one was results.
So then, yes. So like the first category, because there's 2 categories.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's one whole category.
Yes. So that's one whole category.
Self-esteem, comparison and results. Okay.
Cool. And then there's results was just like a little different thing there. It's actually
like one big umbrella. Yeah. Yes.
And so now we're going to move to the physical. So this is more of like talking about like self-care, or just like,
ooh, this
are you getting enough sleep? Or
water.
Like things that you can actually fix that do
I didn't know you were coming with the heat tonight. Well, I don't need to say anything. I'm like, Gabby, don't cut Kendra off. Let her speak.
No, you're fine. You're adding
this is good
gems.
stuff.
But this one here is identifying what is it you need to prioritize in your life. Or identify what it is you need in order to get back on track or feel better. So this is physical. So that could look like, if it's self-care related, that could look like, are you eating at all? What are you eating? Yeah. Maybe you might need to switch some things up. Maybe you need to get on a better eating schedule. Whatever it is. Maybe that.
Or eat better foods.
That's exactly that ice cream that you love. Maybe it's upsetting your stomach. Maybe you should not. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm speaking to myself.
Or keeping you in an energy crash.
Yes. Whatever it is.
Because those sugars.
Exactly. So like look at, maybe that's an easy fix, and that will affect your mood, and that will cause it to where you're like, why do I feel like giving up? Well, you don't feel like giving up anymore, because you literally just changed a couple of things.
And you have energy again.
Exactly.
Your mind's different.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So, or like looking at, maybe you just need to take a hot bath and put some candles and play some music.
Just get away from screens for 6 hours.
Your muscles are tight. Like you just need to do something with that. Go get a massage.
You better preach.
You know what I mean?
Okay, baby.
This goes back to your why. Listen to your body. Listen to yourself. It will tell you what it needs. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
What if it's just more sleep? Maybe you need to go take a nap. Or maybe you actually need to get on a sleep schedule and actually take that seriously. Because, I mean, it's great to be like, oh, I only got 6 hours of sleep if you can function like that. But if you're struggling in those other areas and you literally feel like giving up on your dream, I think it's time
let's pause.
Switch some things up.
Are watching on YouTube and you don't have a solid sleep schedule, I want you to comment, it's time. Just comment, it's time.
Just aim for that. You'll find what works for you. I know for me, like it used to be like 8 to 9 hours. Now I'm realizing that a good 7.5 hours for me,
it's good.
I'm prime. Like it helps me.
Same.
I'm not too tired when I wake up, and I have enough energy to get me throughout the day for the most part, and still stay pretty. Like if I want to do something, I can have enough energy to actually physically do it. And if I don't, then I don't. Like, you know what I mean?
It is what it is.
But
it changes every season.
Yes,
you might
I'm
be a
able
10-hour person this season, and then a 4-hour, I can't do 4 hours, but like a 6-hour person.
And some people can thrive on, so don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on the 6-hour people. Some people can thrive on that. But I'm saying if you're getting only 6 hours and you're struggling, that's the key word.
Yeah,
like,
struggling.
If you're 6 hours and you're flourishing, by all means, why don't fix
listen to this. Keep going.
Don't listen to me.
Don't listen to us.
Don't listen to me. No, but if you're like only getting 6 hours and you're literally dead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's kind of a key. Like, you know, so looking at your sleep schedule, that actually helps a lot. That's actually kind of what helped me, you know, kind of get out of a funk, is really concentrating on my sleep.
This week, my sleep schedule was jacked up. We just have the time change.
That can affect your mood a lot, which is why I want to talk
out
to you
till 2 a.m. Yeah, she said, that's why I want to talk to you about this. Guys, I'm nervous.
No, I'm just playing. But yes, and then the other thing, being more active. Like,
yeah, for sure, 100%.
And in that active, it doesn't have to be lifting weights or running or going to the gym. It could look like something, moving your body, going on a walk.
A walk, yeah.
It could be stretching. Listen, y'all. Stretching. Listen,
especially when you start getting older now.
I'm forgetting how good stretching feels.
It's great for you.
Oh it's my gosh.
100%.
And you feel so good. It just every time I start stretching, I'm like, man, why don't I do this more? Because it feels so good. And I usually, in stretching before bed is a game changer, because you sleep a lot better. You do, because your body's relaxed. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's good.
Stretching, it could look just as simple as touching your toes.
And the science behind it is, you know, just being active. I love, just shout out to Dr. Berg. Dr. Berg. He's on YouTube. You know, I can't vouch for everything he says.
All I know is Dr. Berg.
Oh my gosh. Dr. Berg, Berg.
Oh, Berg. Okay.
He just gives such great wisdom. I love like nutrition and all of this stuff. And yeah. Anyways, he talks about how when you exercise, it releases it actually decreases cortisol, which is a hormone in your body, which is produced by stress.
Yep. And it will go around your middle.
Oh, yeah. The fat will come on in. And so, long story short, yeah, just a little movement, you know. Some people even sit at their desks and they got the little bikes.
Yeah.
I think we get one of those.
I mean, just
while we're podcasting, a little bike.
This is actually how we're filming our podcast, because we are riding this bike.
That'd be amazing. Anyways.
Amazing for you, baby. I would be like, Gabby, you got
I'm on my
this.
500th calorie.
Tired. No, but it could be as simple as sleep. And then also too with this is this is important too. So with these things that you do, like, try something new. It could just be like if it falls into this category, try to switch it up. Create a new habit. And I think it takes about 66 days for you to create a new habit, is what I've heard. So, I don't know.
That's what the 5 a.m. club book says.
Okay, it talks about, it says 66 days. So days. I heard that somewhere.
That's why I'm like, if one more person messed up my sleep schedule, I'm trying to wake up at 5 a.m.
Right, and it becomes a habit. Yeah. So like some of these things that, you know, if you're trying to feel better for long term, it's going to take a bit. And remember, consistency is the key. That doesn't mean you have to do it every single day.
Yeah.
But it just means that if you do fall off or you decide to take a break, that's okay. That's actually wise. Listen to your body.
Absolutely.
And then start back again. But it takes, try to create a new habit. And then after that, I think a major thing to ask yourself too is, are you enjoying what you're doing?
Ooh.
That's like, if you're also having that question of, should I give up? Well, what is it that you're doing? And is that really what you want to do? Do you really like that?
Because sometimes you get in it and
then you're like,
it's not what you thought it would be.
But you think you have to stick with it. And it's like,
to prove to somebody yourself.
Right. Life is too short.
Yeah, just switch it up.
Are you actually enjoying what you're doing?
And that's
good. So after that, it's definitely, if you have that question, it's definitely good to reassess. So maybe doing like a pros and cons list might be helpful for that.
Good. And if you don't know, you don't know, and that's okay.
Exactly. And this is fine.
Life is to figure it out.
This isn't done in a time frame. This is like, you're actually taking, when you have that question of like what to do, like you feel like when you find yourself in that place when you feel like giving up, it's time. That should be an alarm bell of like, it's time to take a step back.
Yeah, and reevaluate.
Yes,
100%.
And just take a step back from what you're doing so that you can figure out what it is you need to be doing or how to get out of that. So none of this is done on a time frame. It's okay to not know, but it's like, don't sit in that place of not knowing, because then you're just running around grabbing at.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Grabbing at the thank you. Grabbing
We'd
at
be
the
great
first
with
thing.
what is it called? Words with friends or charades or whatever.
Yes, I think
you and me.
We really
We've
would
determined
be.
this.
Yes, we really would be. But you know what I mean? Because then you're going to be grabbing at anything, and you're not really going to know what exactly
Still
it is
not
you
going to
need.
satisfy you.
Yes. So like, it's good to just take however long it needs intentionally. You know what I mean?
But intentionally reflecting and trying to figure it out. Maybe going to a therapist.
Yes, all of those things to help you use those tools. There's probably millions more.
Yeah.
But those are just the ones that we're focusing on. And then figure that out. And then
that's so good.
And then this is helpful to identify whether or not it's time as well to switch lanes. So this goes back to the ask yourself, or this goes back to that pros and cons list. This also goes back to the results thing too.
Yeah.
So a different type of results. So this is like, are you enjoying what you're doing? Okay. Are you looking at your results? What are you seeing? Okay. So results, how it's trending. It's actually stagnant or it's actually trending down. That then is helpful to know. And it might mean you need to switch lanes or switch things up.
Switch crafts.
Not necessarily
do something
switching
different.
The goal, but switching
I like
means
that.
to the goal.
Okay.
So it's a different kind of results. The way you're looking at it.
Good. Okay. So a good example would probably be, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like, let's just use something that's really familiar. So right now I'm a musician. I feel like I've been in it for a while. So I love to reach people online with music. It brings hope, joy. I love to lead people to the Lord through it. So one of the main ways I've reached people is through Instagram. But Instagram is tiring me the heck out. Like, I believe. I'm not getting near the engagement I was getting like back in 2020. And I have a bigger audience. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
And so like, tell me how you could post a reel with like 10,000 followers and it only gets shown to like 200 people. It's really crazy to me. So, you know, that's burning me out. A huge factor in why I wanted to give up. Because I'm like, I'm putting all this work in. It's not like my results are trending downwards if we're looking at results. So like just change avenues. Like YouTube is actually quite opposite for me. I am getting new subscribers and viewers from videos I did 5 years ago. And I'm not doing anything. I mean, I did the video and it's over with, and it's still like reaching people. Yeah, and that gives me life to see that content live on and like actually like reaching people. Yeah, you know what I mean. And so
that's a good example. And so it's like you said, switching avenues, or maybe looking at taking Instagram. So still using your YouTube platform, but maybe taking Instagram, taking a step back from Instagram for a second, and looking at so what is. Not that you switch up your content, but maybe looking at, okay, how am I presenting my content? I wonder if that will, do something. Maybe just playing around with it. This is, I think, can come it can relate to enjoying the process. So
Yeah.
playing around and
Figuring out
seeing,
something different, maybe.
yeah, like
Yeah.
seeing what works, what doesn't, whatever, you know what I mean? And
I
that
like that.
also might breathe some fresh air on it too, to where you're kind of excited again, maybe like that.
Yeah.
Like when you very first started Instagram, where you were like that, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of nervousness.
Totally.
I don't know.
It was so fun.
I'm
It
not
was
sure
just like this, it just felt lively.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So maybe
Yeah.
that might come back a little bit when you're trying to, do something, switch it up and play
Yeah.
around with it and see. And so, yeah, that's a very good example. And then almost finished here. I think something to do with that is, again, we talked about the new approach, but something to think about with all of this is, what are you filling your mind with on a day-to-day basis? So you kind of touched on that at the beginning.
We're circling back to the beginning.
Yes,
I love
so
it. That's
you kind of touched
hilarious.
on that. You talked about music. You talked about social media. We're talking about media in general, social interactions, so many different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That can, affect that, and that affects your headspace, right? So it's good to take a step back and seeing, maybe putting into perspective, what am I giving my mind to? And maybe looking and pointing out the major things. So this is actually going to take like homework. You're actually going to have to
pay attention to
and
what you were
see.
looking at.
Yeah, and if it's like, mostly, and not that like these things are bad, because they're not. They're great things.
Right.
But like, say for instance, if it is Netflix and you see most of your time is going to Netflix, that's not bad. But maybe like, limiting that, like putting, like saying like, I'll watch only like a couple episodes of a show instead of binge watching the whole show, what I mean, or something like that. Setting a little bit of of restraints on that. And it doesn't have to be drastic, you know what I mean? It's just like, if you're, example, like a smoker,
Right.
Some people can quit cold turkey, but a majority of people most likely, some people most likely might have to actually cut back,
Wean off.
Yes, wean off. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't, again, make a realistic goal. Don't do something that's going to be like crazy that you're going to fall off of and then feel disappointed.
It doesn't have to be drastic. It's just
No.
one step at a time.
Set yourself up to be successful.
Agree. Yeah.
Don't set yourself up to fail, I guess. And so it's like, all right, if you watch 10 episodes, if it needs to be small, only watch 9. You know what I mean? That's still progress.
And then take the time from that one episode you gave up
and
place
something.
it towards feeding your mind good things.
Yes.
Like reading a good book.
Yes,
I mean,
come on.
I've just been reading again, and which sounds so horrible to say,
No.
but I was burnt out on reading for a while. College did that.
That's real.
But like reading a book that is like geared towards creatives or whatever. And we
Yeah.
have one here at Helps too. We don't need another marketing book. It is geared towards inspiring you, empowering people to go for it. Just reading any book like that, or the Bible, whatever is your thing, can change the game for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be reading. It could be anything. A
It could be
podcast,
anything.
YouTube video,
Anything. It could
Yeah.
just go take that bath.
Yeah.
Like, you know what
Listen
I
to
mean?
good music.
Listen to good, something
Yes.
that's actually,
Positive music.
nourishes your soul, your mind.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yes.
And then
that's a
more
good
and
one.
more every day, so that eventually the majority is the good, positive, encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay, love. I'm just kidding.
I know. I was like,
it's a radio station commercial.
You sound like an
good,
ad.
positive,
It really did.
encouraging. Yeah,
It really
my
did.
earring just fell out. That's hilarious.
Oh no.
Continue.
And then for me, this does affect your headspace for sure. But from experience, having too much, like sometimes either too much stimuli or too much negative stimuli, this can hinder your creativity and your motivation. So pay
Preach,
attention to that. It really can, because you might fall into, then you're seeing so much of this thing that maybe it's the thing that you want to do or you are doing, and this person is very successful at it. You might start comparing your journey to theirs.
Ooh.
And that will help make you want to give up as well. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it all relates, and it's all affects your headspace. And so
It does.
and then nextly, remember, take the time to engage in activities that you enjoy. So again, if you like to paint, go paint. Like whatever it is. Like, these don't have to be goal related either. This could just be whatever it is you want to enjoy.
Yeah, not everything's performance related.
This is you want to, what is the word I'm looking for? I guess enhance your daily life, because a lot of life is living in those moments.
In the journey.
It's in those day to day. Like, you know what I mean? So find something that you enjoy. Also too, find out, if you don't already know, what motivates you or births creativity.
Yeah.
And then do more of that.
Yeah.
But To sum it all up, with all of these things, though, that we talked about, one thing to consider is scheduling. Scheduling. And that
pains
is
me.
Right. Me too. That's not
You have
the
to, though,
easiest thing.
especially in the modern day world, if you're
Scheduling.
becoming an adult.
Yes.
Like if you're 18 up watching this, time flies and people will fill your schedule for you if you do not make it a priority to take your time back.
Or like what you said at the beginning, like what you focus on, you know what I mean? That will fill up your time too. Subconsciously,
consume you.
you don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So scheduling.
That's good.
Scheduling.
Oh, that's really good.
This is what is your schedule like? What is it like currently? All right. So take a look at that. Are you finding ways to incorporate healthy habits in your day-to-day? Because those will ultimately impact your longevity as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So finding ways to incorporate the things that we talked about, whether it's the self-care things or
So good.
whether it's just taking time to check in with yourself on a daily. You know what I mean? To say, okay, where am I at? How do I feel? All right, then set an intention for the day. You know what I mean? Like just things that you can do to, you know, enhance your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything to enjoy life, to enjoy those moments. So that's definitely something that will help you reach your goals. And just to kind of recap, so it's asking yourself why.
Yeah.
That's the major thing.
The why.
When you find yourself wanting to give up, ask yourself why. Take that time to step back. Once you can identify that why, you can attack it. You'll know what you need to do in order to get back on track or switch lanes, whatever it is. And then lastly, getting to know yourself, in my opinion, increases confidence. And I think that confidence promotes self-assurance.
Yeah.
And I think that when you are sure of yourself, you're less likely to be swayed by the ups and downs when you're accomplishing your dreams. So I think that the more that you are self-aware and get to know yourself, the more that you're confident in what you want and how you're going to go get it. You're not going to be swayed by someone else's journey. Like they might be in the same lane as you, but they're cool. And you're cool because you know what you're going to do. You know how you're going to get there.
Right.
And you're confident that you're going to make it there. And so whether or not they surpass you a little bit or whatever it is, you're set. You're set. So you're not paying attention to all the negative, the outside, whatever it is. You're confident in your ability. You're confident in what you're doing and where you're going. And so I think that comes from getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And I think that helps and aids in just life. And I think it helps in when doubt comes or when, other things come, like, because you're able to lean back on that and be like, you know what, but I know who I am. And for Christians, I know whose I am.
Yeah.
So I know that he's going to get me to where I need to go. And I'm going to put myself in a position to receive from him and to do what I need to do what I've set out to do and stay focused on that thing.
And having not a famine mentality.
Yeah.
Like there's enough food at
good.
the table for everyone to eat versus like there's only one plate and I must fight to get to that plate first or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, long-term journey. I have a little painting in my house and it says like, this is a long-term journey and it's like a boat. And someone who worked for Helps 2 actually painted it back in the day.
Wow.
Because I went through a season where I'm like, this is a long-term journey. Like, and the more you can grasp that and like kind of set yourself up, because as creatives, I think a lot of what we do has to do with pleasing people.
Yeah.
Or like entertaining people or like people looking at us or like enjoying what we do and et cetera, or interacting with it. And if you can go deeper for a why, like you might love to entertain people, but like deeply, like even deeper, why are you called to this? Like, is it a calling or like, if you can find a deeper why, like, hey, my life is set up to, love God and then like be good to people or like bring that energy, you're going to do that and not need people's approval. Because if you live by approval, you'll die by approval.
For sure.
100%.
Come on, Gabby, you're preaching.
So, yeah. And I mean, I fall. Here's the thing. As creatives, I think we're kind of like on this balance beam, right? Constantly. You can fall off of that beam into the like, well, I really crave their approval. Or like, I am trying to reach people and I didn't see anybody like this post. And like, I'm tripping. Like, I spent so much time on this.
Yeah.
No, dude, like set up your post in a way like you need to be, and this is my goal for this year, 2023, prolific and not perfect. You need to be fruitful. Now, trees that bear fruit, right? Like cherry trees or like oranges, if they're healthy, they bear a lot of fruit and they're not worried about that one orange that didn't quite turn out right or nobody liked or picked it up or whatever. They're like, no, we keep going. in and out of seasons. And there's seasons where they don't produce anything because they're preparing for the next season.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to be, as creatives, in a mindset where we're like, we're going to be prolific and not perfect.
Yeah.
And perfection or prolific can't be determined by anybody else but us. Like, if you're prolific, you need to know in your heart, like, what that means to you, right? Like, for me, it's like one song a month right now, which is kind of killing me, but like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, one song a month right now as a musician, and then like one podcast a week right now as helps too. That's prolific to me. If 30 people like the podcast, or like 2,000 people listen to the song and that's it, that's not the goal. Like, of course I'd love more, right?
Right.
But like,
Of
it's
course
not
you
the
wanna
goal.
reach more, but it's not
gonna make me
even
give
about
up.
that. It's about the content, honestly, in itself. It's
Yeah.
about what God has placed inside of you. He wants you to share, and the way you're wanting to share that is through your creative venues.
Yeah.
And in that, you hope to reach as many people as you can. But the fact that you are getting rid of this gift that's been given to you is what matters.
And you know what?
You know what I mean? Ultimately.
That is exactly right. And I think we had a video clip from like last week on YouTube, and 3 people had watched it, and we're just getting started again, you know? And one of my clients watched it, and she was like, that really touched me. Like, I really believe that this is my marketing engine. And I'm like, you watched the video.
Yeah.
And that's what matters right there.
Yeah.
We impacted somebody.
Exactly.
Period.
And it's a matter of we're reaching the people that we're supposed to reach at the moment.
That's it.
I guess if you think about it, and it's where it's supposed to go. And, you know, and I don't think also too, I think it's good to look at that of, I mean, I think it's good to have several perspectives when looking at that. 'Cause that that falls into like results kind of, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Where it's always good to see that, all right, like I'm fine. Like, again, this is, I think, where it comes with being self-assured. So I'm self-assured that regardless of 3 or 3 million, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I feel called to this. I feel like I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Cool. Then it's like, all right, you're putting something out, but then you also kind of want to not be like blind to it, to like, all right, like to the trends, you know what I mean? To like how it's trending.
Yeah.
Because that might mean that you have this great message, but maybe you're just not
Change the approach a little bit.
Yeah, like maybe you're just not sure how to get it out there. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? So like, don't be blind to it to where you're just stuck and don't want to grow.
Well, I think
you know
that's
what I mean?
being a good artist too, no matter what kind of art you do. Like, you're never blind to learning what's current. Like,
Right.
Like on anything. Right.
So yeah, not even like, I'm not saying like follow the trends, although that like you can, and that's,
I
there's
think you should
nothing wrong
know.
with
Like, that doesn't mean you
That's
have
what
to
I'm saying.
do
Right.
it,
I'm
but,
not
like, you
saying
should
like
know.
don't follow the trends, and I'm not saying don't not follow the trends. I'm saying don't be blind to, don't be blind and don't be stuck in that, like, how do I say it? Like, be self-assured and confident in what you're doing, but also know that there's room to grow.
Yeah, don't shut off the growth factor.
Right. So like, if you need to do something different in order to if you want to reach more people or whatever it is, it could be as simple of like a hashtag. Like, you know what I mean? Like something, like you need to switch something
or
like
change the way you dress in your videos.
Or whatever
like, whatever.
It is, don't do that thing and see what happens. But regardless if that works or doesn't or whatever, you're still confident in what you're doing and that you're doing the right thing. And so I'm like, I think that's kind of, I don't know, a good place, I guess, to be at is just self-assurance, but also it helps you also be socially aware too. So like also going back to like the lane thing, like where I think being being self-aware and then self-assured, so confident in that also helps you be able to root and cheer and support your friends or people that are maybe in the same category as you, or even doing other things from an authentic place because you're self-assured in what you're doing. So it's not about
you
I
don't
gotta
need
be
to
better
compete.
than that person or compete. It's not about that.
No, you can support everybody.
Right.
There's enough food on the
table. It gives
table.
you more grace and capacity to do that because you're well aware of where you're supposed to be.
And usually when you're doing something like prolifically, meaning consistent on a cadence, you really don't have it in you. There's not, if you're really working hard at something on the bat, it's really rare that I see those people that are like hustling, having that kind of energy to be
Real
competitive
recognize
and
real.
try to like tear people down. Usually when you see someone that's doing what you do, you're like, yo, there's not a lot of us. What's up? Like, how can we help each other out?
Like collab or just like I see
it's rare
you.
to see people compete when they're like prolific, like going for it.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
This is good, Kendra.
It was good.
Thanks for everything. This was really good. You heard it here first, y'all. I mean, I'm just shook. I'm going to have to go back and watch this. Like, this was really good. Minister to me. Okay.
I'm good.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next podcast. I did not even say subscribe at the top of this, but you should subscribe. We have a lot more. So what we're doing is a new series.
Yes.
Called Level Up.
Oh, yep. Level Up.
Mind, Body, Soul. Or what is it? Perception, physical, and practical for the soul.
Yes.
And so we're starting off with a lot of like perception oriented, mind based podcasts this year. And then we're going to move to the physical. Which is going to be, we're going to sit down and plan this for sure.
So we're going to have a lot of different things. So please, subscribe or stick around.
Yeah.
Like Gabby said, like we're starting with the mind right now because we know that to change your mind changes your life. Like it always starts in your mind. Like if you stuck with us this far, you realize that your mind is affected by a lot, and that affects how you move.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's only fitting that from after this series that we're going to go into the physical, we're going to go into the body. And so stick around.
You might see us in a gym.
Exciting things coming.
A gym.
That you want to be a part of. So
absolutely. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Yes.
Ciao.
Remember, everybody
in a body is a creative.
Bye.